Welcome back, and we are on the topic of teachers.
Yes.
And
yes,
before we move
are.
on, let's look at some of the comments from our viewers.
Okay, Turbo says, I agree with Diana. Attitude counts if a student wants to do well in his academics, and Turbo also thinks that Diana is hot.
Hot stuff.
Wow, hot stuff.
And of course, iPod Touch Me says, Rajan is super awesome.
Oh.
And Kristine is a great host.
Oh, iPod Touch Me. Okay, sorry, iPod Touch Me. You don't get a prize for getting that, but you get our love.
Turbo also says that, what can a teacher do if the parents are not supportive of what the teacher does in school to educate the child?
Yeah,
That's
true.
Good question.
Yeah.
So, what do you think?
What do you guys think?
Okay.
What should a teacher do then?
This happened to me a few days back about exactly that post that Turbo had just posted. What I did was I told my principal he deserves it. He deserves this trip overseas. So I don't see why the parents are being so negative about him going off just because of some monetary issue. So I actually, talked to his mom. So it's quite hard to, encourage her to say it's pretty fine. You are putting a good investment in your son, and I have to be very careful with my words. And I really have to be very professional. Although at times there were some heights that I was like just saying that you could do this and this, but I can't because that is his son.
Yeah.
To my knowledge, as a teacher, I can just do my best by recommending him to go for such honorable trip. But still, I told my cadet that whatever it is, you don't go against your parents. I tried my best as a teacher to bring you overseas, but if let's say your parents still insist you not to go, just respect them. There might be there might be some important reason why not. So that's how it's very difficult because he really deserves that.
Yeah, that's right. So it's a tricky,
it's a tricky
thing to handle between a teacher and a
parent.
parent.
Correct, true.
Have you met with such situations before?
Surprisingly, well, I thought if I'm a disciplinarian, students and parents will be unhappy with me. But from what I've come across so far, when parents meet me, they're very thankful. Because sometimes they wonder when students go into a polytechnic environment, whether there be a lack of discipline. So when they come across lecturers like me, who are willing to instill some, such values in them, parents do appreciate and they express it. So far it has been very pleasant surprises for me. Okay, not that I'm inviting that to be changed, but hope it remains that way, that parents are supportive.
All right. Okay. Well, we have another lecturer who is an excellent teacher like our guests today, and so let's take a look at this clip.
Now, what happens when you give people a lot of liberty, and when they're less inhibited, simply because they don't have to adhere to a set of rules, they are more liable to play.
We're here with Dr. Robin Loon, one of our excellent teachers, who is an assistant professor at the NUS Theatre Studies program. So hello, Dr. Loon.
Hello, Chris.
Oh, so why don't you tell us more about yourself?
I'm an assistant professor at Theatre Studies program at NUS. Been actually part of the Theatre Studies program since 97. And then I went away to do my PhD. I came back and I came right back into this. I'm also a playwright, and a dramaturg, so I do a lot of work in the art scene itself.
What's the most important lesson that you try to get across to all your students?
I think the most important lesson I try to get to my students is don't be afraid. Just don't be afraid. I think courage is very important. Courage is the basis of what people call risk-taking. Courage and curiosity. I think to not just exist on the pragmatic level. I mean, don't get me wrong, the pragmatics of everyday living is extremely important, especially now in the world. But to have that intellectual curiosity and to actually ask questions. So why is it like this, right? And not be afraid to ask the questions. I mean, there are many things that I don't know. And if I don't know, I ask the questions. I'm not embarrassed. I'm not embarrassed in any way. I mean, if somebody says that, aren't you embarrassed to be asking that question? I says, no, I don't know. Just because I have a PhD doesn't mean I know everything. There are many things that I don't know. And the only way that I will get to know is if I ask the question. So I encourage my students to ask questions, and I encourage my students to go find out answers. So I don't always just give them the answers, because I'm not an encyclopedia. I tell them, and I encourage them, and I put them on the line of questioning so that at the end of the day, when they do find the answer, they own it.
Do you think that it's important to develop this sort of relationship with your students wherein they see you, they still see you as a teacher, of course, but they also see a friend in you?
So what I try to do is I try to keep up with them, right? I try to make them feel that I know at least not everything in their world or part of their world. So I have to keep current. I mean, we go into the industry. Theatre is a collaborative art anyway. So if the students feel that they are collaborating with us and they feel that they have a place in this larger discipline, I think it motivates them a lot more. So I think it kind of works. It's a lot of work, but I think the payoff is well worth it. Studying theatre is actually quite a tough thing. I know it's not just the theory, there's a lot of practice, and students are often very risk averse. They're frightened. Nobody wants to look like a fool or to look like a fool or embarrass themselves in public. I think to be very supportive and very encouraging, right? And to make them feel that, yes, I'm in a secure enough environment to fail, and even if I do, I will learn from it and I can come back and try again.
So that's rhizomatic.
It's like a micro example of what Fusion is as well.
Correct.
I didn't wear already called it. He challenges you and he encourages you. He has instilled, I think, the confidence in us to sort of, you know, to not be scared of what is there. And he's a good example of it because he practices theatre outside himself. So he teaches, he knows his stuff well, but he also practices it.
What I learned from Dr. Woon was that you just have to be really, really detailed, and you just cannot leave any stone unturned. You have to, go through everything very carefully so that, it doesn't appear that your essay might have loopholes.
Guang, one of our seniors who's doing honours, she took his module, popular culture. Yeah. And then she was very worried because she said, I'm not a popular culture person. She's like very studious sort of person. So she was very worried. She approached him after the first lesson saying, I don't think I'll do well because I don't know anything about it. Then he said, but it's not about how well you know the subject, it's how much you learn. So as long as you learn and you come away from the module having learned something, I think that's most important.
He will come in, he'll buy us presents, and then he seems to know each and every one of us very well. He takes the effort to actually reach out to all the students, including those in year one. Yeah, so the thing is, and then when it comes to the honours year, then he becomes like a father figure. Yeah, to us.
He had this rule that if you ever come late for more than 10 minutes, you actually have to wait outside the door until there's sort of a break or anything. Then you have to ask for permission, from the whole class and himself before you can come in. It's like, it was this sort of little things that, instills fear and respect.
Robin Loon is loony, yet he's fabulous. Woohoo!
I'm going to say this to the camera. Dr. Loon, you are my inspiration.
Okay, as the last words, Naresh, do you have any words of appreciation for your teachers?
Yeah, well, I thank all those teachers for all those years, who encouraged me and inspired me to go on. I think a lot of them are still, teaching. So, I do go back once in a while to give some appreciation and to thank them for all they did. And I do encourage them to, continue to get to know their students better. I think they're looking to make that connection with their teachers in class. So never, always look to make that connection. I think that's the most important thing that inspires the students.
Well said.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, teachers, for being here tonight. And you guys deserve a round of applause. Woo! We're being celebrate teachers. We know how hard the job is, and we really, really owe a lot of gratitude to you guys. All right, unfortunately, that is all the time that we have. But thank you so much for joining us here at Point Blank, where we suss out the most important issues for Singaporeans. And to all your viewers out there, make sure to be nice to your teachers.
I'll see you. Bye.